Yeah, the stuff that like you really will get happiness from. I know it's like cliche, but doesn't cost money. I gotta add all the money. You know what I mean? I've done all the but it's, you know, the stuff that doesn't really cost money is that makes me happy.
All right, now, what's going on, people? It's Josh, aka Foresight, coming to you live once again from the other side of the culture, where we are in the culture but not of it, and we follow biblical truth instead of cultural trends. So I came across this clip on Instagram of Dan Bilzerian. For those who don't know, Dan Bilzerian is a famous poker player and businessman worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And, he lives an extravagant and lavish lifestyle, right? And he broadcasts it all over the internet pretty much all day, every day. But I ran across this clip of him talking about how money doesn't necessarily equate to happiness, right? And I thought it was really compelling, and I thought it also confirmed some biblical truths. So let's take a look at it and discuss.
Crazy, you know, I'm like worth $350 million. You know, a lot of people equate money to happiness, and it's not. It's more freedom. What people don't understand is like, once you have basic needs met, you don't get incremental happiness from more money. You do for a short period of time. Like if you're a $100,000 a year guy and I bump you to 200,000, you're going to be happy, but that's not going to last. You're going to get used to 200,000. My problem is, you know, and a lot of rich people, there's nothing that I buy that brings me happiness. I bought a Ferrari. I wasn't happy for more than 24 hours, put 100 miles on the thing in a year and got rid of it. You know, like I just didn't care. I can't get pleasure spikes anymore. Being a pleasure seeker is like being a drug addict. You take a Percocet, makes you feel good. You know, now 2 weeks later, you got to take 2 Percocets to get the same feeling. 3 weeks later, you're taking 3, 4, 5, and then eventually you're taking them just to not feel like you don't get high anymore. Same thing with pleasure. Pleasure is like fleeting, and pleasure is one of those things where it's like, it's a black hole, you know?
So what makes you happy?
Surfing, hanging with my friends, you know what I mean? Like this that doesn't cost money, to be honest with you. You know, it's kind of funny, but like, yeah, the stuff that like you really will get happiness from. I know it's like cliche, but doesn't cost money. I gotta add all the money. You know what I mean? I've done all the but it's, you know, the stuff that doesn't really cost money is that makes me happy.
You know, it's crazy. We see this time and time again, you know, but it seems like we still don't quite get it. Like for whatever reason, it just doesn't connect in our mind that money doesn't make you happy. I remember when I was younger, you know, I used to always say stuff like, man, why are these celebrities complaining? You know, like if I was rich, I'd be content. I'll be happy. I'd be somewhere chilling, right? Not a care in the world. But the idea that money makes you content or happy is clearly a fallacy, right? We see and hear it from people with money all the time. Plenty of rich people tell us how miserable they are, either with their words or with their actions. You know, money cannot satisfy you. It just can't. And it's a shame that most of us spend our whole entire lives chasing it, only to find out that, you know, it's not really what we were hoping it would be, right? It really doesn't scratch the itch that we hoped it would in the end. You know, the book of Ecclesiastes has become one of my favorite books of the Bible because it touches on a lot of the material desires of man, and it shows how most of those desires prove to be worthless in the end. Ecclesiastes 5:10 says, "He who loves money will not be satisfied with money, nor he who loves wealth with his income. This is also vanity." So many of us get caught up in all kinds of trouble and turmoil because of our love for money. You know, we often risk everything chasing it, you know, and most times it leads to a dead end. 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 9 says, "Those who desire to be rich fall into temptation, into a snare, into many senseless and harmless desires that plunge people into ruin and destruction. The desire to be rich alone, has caused and will continue to cause, a lot of people to destroy themselves and their families. That's not to say that, it's inherently bad to have riches, but the desire, right? The obsessive and compulsive desire to be rich can definitely lead a person astray. God knows that money doesn't bring us the joy that we're ultimately and truly seeking. He knows that. He created us. He knows what we need and what will satisfy us. That's why he tells us, not to set our hopes on the uncertainty of riches, but instead to set our hopes on him, right? And he will provide us with everything to enjoy. The truth is, our joy comes from God alone and being in his presence. We're created in his image. Whether we have a relationship with him or not, we're still created in his image. And, what we're missing and what we desire ultimately is a relationship with him, right? And everything that we need is in him. We were made to be in a relationship with him, and nothing else will satisfy us. But, it's the human condition, sadly, to continue to chase after these fleeting pleasures and material things that lead nowhere. The sad reality is that, and I wouldn't even call it sad necessarily, because, my worldview is that we have greater things waiting for us on the other side of eternity. But, we brought nothing into this world and we can't take anything out of it. Nothing. You can't take anything out of this world. And I know that sounds cliche, but when you really think about it, like, out of all the stuff that we work so hard to attain in this life, all the stuff that we shed blood for and sweat and tears and all these things, right? Just to, get these material things, none of them we can take with us. All of them are temporary. And you got to ask yourself, why spend your whole life chasing things that are temporary? Jesus said, we shouldn't store up earthly riches, but instead we should store up for ourselves treasures in heaven, eternal riches, eternal treasures that don't fade, that don't rust, can't be stolen or destroyed, and you would think, just by watching this video, I know a lot of other rich people feel this way. Even if they don't vocalize it, it's just the truth. So that other people are feeling this way, and you can see by their actions that a lot of people are not happy. But you would think that, rich people would find Jesus more frequently. But, the exact opposite often happens. But, you get all this money and you realize that it doesn't bring you happiness. You would think, maybe if you heard the gospel at some point, or if you heard about Jesus, that it would redirect you towards him. But it seems like a lot of them just keep digging a bigger and bigger hole for themselves, right? They start taking more drugs, right? Trying to buy more clothes and more jewelry and more houses and cars, sleeping with more women, thinking that eventually they'll find the satisfaction that they were looking for. But the truth is, they'll never find it on that road. It's not on that road. This is why it's important for us as believers to continue to spread the gospel, because it's what people need and are looking for, even if they don't realize it. True joy is found in the repentance of sin, right? Turning from our sin and following Jesus, who offered himself as a sacrifice so that we could be reconciled to God and, be in relationship with him through our faith in the person and work of Jesus Christ. So I would cautiously advise everyone to, pay attention to stories like these as, a cautionary tale. Yes, we all desire to have our basic needs met. And, the Bible even says that God knows that, right? And, he knows what we need. And, he will provide for us. But, money in and of itself does not bring happiness. That's just the bottom line. Anyway, get in the comments. Let me know what you guys think about all of this. Make sure you like and subscribe. Check out the links in the description. And I'll catch y'all next time. All right now.